Greetings, greetings, greetings across the earth. Greetings to the free people. Greetings, Aborigines of the West Indies. Greetings to all living systems that is cognizant of such existence across the earth. Salute, free people. We are touched upon the slave trade, and we are looked upon the National Library of Jamaica. Now, it has said the slave trade, a commemoration of the abolition of the slave trade in the West Indies. Now this section will show you that the transatlantic slave trade is largely responsible for bringing to the Americas enslaved Africans. The slave trade is said to have drawn between 10 and 20 million Africans from their homeland, with approximately 600,000 coming to Jamaica, one of the largest importers of slaves at the time, between 1533 and 1807. So we can look at that timeline, because this hemisphere, according to what is written, was invaded in 1492, and our island here in 1494, and then by 1509 the foreigners created whatever you'd say colony at the time and call it Santiago, and that is in 1509. So between 1533 and 1807, they are saying them import over between 10 and 25 million Africans. Now this is in the National Library of Jamaica, and right there, so we don't even start good. You know what I mean? Right away, we have to question everything, because we want to see the record. We should be able to see the records of these 600,000. You know what I mean? African slave being brought here to Jamaica, and by extension, we need to verify the 10 and 20 million Africans that is here in the Americas at the time. Referred to as the triangular trade, it involved 3 points: Europe, Africa, and the West Indies, and represented a complex financial business at its peak in the 18th century. Oh, so it's in the 18th century, this slave trade, transatlantic slave trade, had its peak. People listening, the cruel and inhumane conditions experienced by the Africans from their initial capture, their journey along the Middle Passage, whatever that is, and enslavement in the West Indies demanded that the slave trade be abolished and slaves be freed. So, are we not still enslaved? Are we all not in the process of extricating ourselves from this subtle enslavement? So where are the freed slaves? In fact, where are the Africans that were enslaved here? Where are they? between 10 and 25 million? This is what I'm saying. We have been taught lies. We've all been taught lies. It's not just one group of people have been taught lies. We've all been taught lies about this transatlantic slave trade. Europe, Africa, and the West Indies. You get me? So there is no slave in America, and West Indies is separate and distinct from America. Huh? It's interesting. As much agitation by anti-slavery individuals and groups in and outside of the Caribbean, as well as passive and active resistance by the Maroons. Only the Maroons resist this enslavement, as well as the enslaved. All right, let me rephrase this. After much agitation by anti-slavery individuals and groups in and outside of the Caribbean, as well as passive and active resistance by the Maroons, as well as the enslaved. That means that the Maroons, and there was a next set of people who are the enslaved. The Slave Trade Abolition Bill was passed in the British House of Lords. You hear that? House of Lords? On the 25th of March, 1807. So you have House of Lords, spiritual, House of Lords, temporal. People need to do them kind of research there. When we speak, they might say, boy, yeah, we're talking. This is where them capture your body and soul on paper. The bicentenary of the abolition of the slave trade, 2007, in the British West Indies is being recognized in Jamaica and other regions in acknowledgement of this year as an important historical event. The National Library of Jamaica has compiled a select bibliography of materials available on this subject in its collection. The National Library of Jamaica holds a number of material on the slave trade dating as far back as 1671 and publications from each century thereafter. Hence, we need to get some serious research done in this department. The slave trade has been the subject of extensive scholarship, confronting issues such as the number of Africans transported to the Americas and the social, economic, and political effects of the trade. Notice the NASA commerce and all trade. These studies are available in a variety of formats such as manuscript books, newspaper article, and CD-ROMs. In addition to the analytical studies of the slave trade, there are also descriptive material including narrative by those directly involved, such as freed persons, slave traders, and observers. Yeah, man. I forgot to touch upon these things. I personally have to look into these things. I can't find where the record is. I'm also with ancestral lineage. I verify this kind of claim. 600,000. I wonder how much people are in Jamaica. You know what I mean? So I guess this 600,000 African slaves were them brought here, or them people, the rest are the populace where if we have 2 or 3 million people here, from this 600,000, nobody else wasn't here, so we're all Africans. That's the garbage. That's the lies. That's the mess we have been taught, and we have all been taught this mess. This transatlantic slave trade narrative, which was told in reverse. Just present the verifiable proof. That's it. And if we're all Africans, we'll just proudly go back over Africa and full up that place and leave this area to all of those who want it, put it that way. Everybody else, all the foreigners who are fighting for this place, we'll just all pile up in Africa in that any location over there, and we'll say, all right, let's exist right there. We have too much of smart people, bright people, who have been miseducated, who have been misled, who have been misinformed, or who have only been told one part of the story. And most of it, we're afraid to venture into a new faculty of thinking or approach it differently. We're afraid because it will interrupt with commercial business what we have in place. This is why the truth will always be suppressed. However, the truth shall remain the truth. Yeah, man. So we're not sure about this slave trade narrative. I am not one who subscribe to those kind of narrative that somebody take I away from some foreign land known as Africa. I don't subscribe to that kind of propaganda. Until someone can verify them kind of claim that, bring proof of those kind of activities, documented proof, then we can at least start to consider these things. But to just run our mouth freely, passionately, convincingly, that we are all Africans is just untrue. You understand? So I say every man better speak for themselves. I can't speak for everyone else. I can't tell a man say, hey, you're Awak, or hey, you're man, or hey, you're African, or hey, you're American, hey, you're Jamaican. I can't tell a man who them is. I can't tell a man say this is who I am. I create our own paradigm, our own society. We say Awak in the nation. We are Aborigines, meaning we are the originals here. Everything else come here and see us, irrespective of what kind of time frame a man might choose to put on it. We are the originals here. When the Moors who used to rule Spain look over here and see us looking burnt skin as they are, they call us Aborigines. Those are from the origin. That's what they call us. The 1828 Noah's Webster's Dictionary defined an American as native of America, originally applied to the aboriginals or copper color races found here. And them say found or discovered here by the Europeans or the foreigners. And the European doesn't mean pale man. That's another misconception. There was a time when Europe was highly melanated, just like how there was a time when this continent was highly melanated. Our people now have this kind of information. So this is why when we're looking at South Africa, we identify with Africa when it's only South Africa are the set of people who would actually go under that oppression of apartheid. Not the entire Africa. It was one region where we know about. And again, if I am African and my ancestry is of African descent, then my concerns will be for the Africans. However, if I am American and my ancestry is of American descent, then my concerns are such. You have what is known as Hindu, Hindu. And then you have Indians. Now the Hindu now claim to be Indians. So this is why we have to get down to specific when we say we are the Aborigines. That means we are from origin, because around here, these Hindus does not originate here. We can show documents when the Irish came here as indentured servants and the pale-skinned Irish people. It's the very same thing we can show documents when the Hindustani people who you say take over Trinidad and Tobago and all of these places. We can document when these people came to this hemisphere, to America. However, when you make a claim, as we are, it becomes problematic, because we not choose to follow what was laid out, the script that was laid out for us, claiming to be Africans and claiming African ancestry. This is why we find ourselves a look all over for all different kind of gods and choose not to look into the mirror. Our people find it hard to look into the mirror. We can't face ourselves. You understand? So when I say look into the mirror, that's where you'll find your leader. Look into the mirror. That's where you'll find your God. This is where our people have a problem. God, truth hurts. We not agree with the slave trade from Africa to America narrative. We don't agree. Jamaica, as it is a slave colony. Verifiable proof is the British Nationality Act of 1948, amended as the 1962 Constitution of Jamaica. Which direct the people to the head of state, which is a foreign crown corporation. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me it is not so. On our island, we have two classes of citizenship or citizenry. And you have what is known as citizen of Jamaica and Commonwealth citizen. Those are the only two classes of citizenship here. Now, for a man like me, where discover the world passport and world government and world citizenship back in 2012, that's when I make a claim and say, well, then I'm a world citizen then. If I have to be a citizen, then I'll be a citizen of the world. However, I've never subscribed to the citizenship with a secure passport. So this is why me I say if people not have knowledge, then people not have choices. You can't allow the foreign institution to present any kind of, you just say, options as choices. There's no such thing. Whatever them are going to present have to be beneficial to their system. So it's free will. When I say the chaos are going out there and everybody has scrambled, should I take this vaccine? Should I not? You know what I mean? All my question is this. What applies to me, or what applies to my society, and what does not? And if I am a member of your corporate body politic, your society, then your corporate bylaws may apply to I with my consent. But the moment I am outside your corporate construct on paper, then absolutely no bylaws apply to this man or his society. Not even your stop sign. Literally. You and I know that. My common people are ready for that. Because on this side of things, they have to choose to be lawful. You know, go engage in a criminal activity and guise it as being lawfully. Them things are not going to happen. So free will always be free will. You can choose to delegate your authority to a foreign corporate body politic in whatever capacity. That's a free will choice. But we say, we don't mind having alternative. We don't mind having honest options, not the lesser of two evil. They go and bring two politicians from the very same system and tell us if we choose one out of these two, which are going to represent that very same foreign system. And I find my common folk actively participating in that insanity called a political regime or system. And then they look at me and say, yo, King, you're crazy. Sometimes I have to say I don't mind agreeing. Because if all of you guys view it according to how the system want you to view it, then I must be crazy. Admittedly. Because I'm the only one on this island who choose to travel lawfully, which is a free will act, a free will, choice. And where do I get that authority to act so freely? I get it from the Creator, God Almighty, the Creator of nature. It's a divine right. It's a divine duty. It doesn't derive from man. This is why it's called a basic or fundamental rights, which is secured by the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedom, ascended by the Governor General, which represent the head of state, in 2011, that very document, which is now being abrogated. So people have them free will choice to choose. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you just don't know, and you need to know. Now, if you choose to just believe, yeah, that's your free will choice. Anyway, the slave trade. Who are these African slaves? Where are they? And why aren't they getting what them call it? Repatriation? Where are they? Present those documentation, man, because I'm quite sure not all of us here are descendant from Africa. I guarantee most of the people in here will find their connection all over the Americas, all different locations on this mainland. We are the Freemasonic secret. Our identity is being withheld from us. You understand? This is why the United Nations that is located in Manhattan, it's not in Switzerland, neutral country, it's in Manhattan. The United Nations say, hey, Declaration of Indigenous People, where it say you have a right to self-identify. You have a right to self-determination. And the Human Rights Charter correlates with those rights. But our common people miss it. We are focused on the effect. When if we remove the cause, the problem solved. That's all we are saying. Freedom, free dominion, free domain. It's that simple. Africa for the Africans, and America for the Americans. The problem is that the Americans here are totally unaware that they are the original Americans here, the ones what them call Aborigines. You understand? And everything else is foreign to such. It's not about racism or being racist. We are talking about truth. Every pale man what you see in America cannot say America here in this hemisphere is their point of origin. They cannot make those kind of claims. Impossible. Verified. Just like what I'm looking at, the National Library of Jamaica cannot verify any form of those claims saying between 10 and 20 million Africans was taken and over 600,000 was brought here. Prove it. From 1533 to 1807, prove it. In 1811, Paul Coffey brought 48,000 American Aborigines from America to the African continent over there. And in 1816, the American Colonization Society brought 12,000 American Aborigines, known as Indians, to Africa to create a state called Liberia. Tell me I'm lying. Say it's not so. So who is transporting slave from where to where? Who is this East Indian Company? Them kind of information, yeah, is unpopular. Because them kind of information, yeah, topple empires. Them kind of truth, yeah. People like fantasy. People like feel-good stories. People want to engage in that, what do you call it? The church of a name feet, where them just tell us that everything is going to be alright and all you need is money, and the more money you get, is the much better things will be. That's where our people are deal with that kind of illusion and delusion there. When I want the raw truth, we're afraid of that truth. We rather sit down and entertain all kind of processes, participating and engaging with this foreign system. See who is much brighter, who is much smarter, who is opposed to separating and getting out of her, so we can create our own thing while it exists, or it just stop existing. Separate and distinct. That's what it is. Anyway, the brave may fall but never yield. At what point we want to see the documents when these 600,000 African slaves was enrolled and registered here on this island? We would need to find these people. We need to find them. Yeah, man. Anyway, as we move forward, step by step,